first question we would want to ask you is to tell us about the place you as a community work and the place where you have built the garden.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. To those that maybe don't know me, my name is Themba Chauke. I'm the coordinator of the 10,000 Gardens project in Limpopo in South Africa. So that is where our project is based. So when it comes to your garden, the school garden, it's hard for me to pronounce the name. Is based in Makasa village, which is somewhere around Limpopo, but next to Elim or Nostra. So when you're going towards Zimbabwe, it's along that way. It's not far from the Bait Bridge border. So this is the project that is in Limpopo with 17 women and 1 man that has been supported by you. They are operating in a 2-hectare land.
Okay. We also wanted to ask you how is the work in the garden, and if you could describe a typical day like in the garden.
A typical day like in the garden, now we are preparing for summer cultivation. So summer cultivation does not have that much work, but I've got too much work. Let me explain. People are going to the garden with hand hooves, and they used to do like this. If you can see in some of the video that I showed you, they cultivate most of the indigenous crops during summer. And during summer, we mainly depend on rain for our crops. So people when go to the garden now, it's the cultivation month. Nothing much has come out of the gardens or the fields because it's the start of the rainy season. It is just starting. It has not yet reached the peak. Then within a month or 2, that's where you can see something coming up of the garden. So now is the cultivation and planting time in the garden. You find many women working just preparing the soil. So preparing the soil and at the same time cultivating. That is the system that planting, preparing the soil and planting at the same time. So that is the typical day in the garden now.
Kind of crops do you cultivate there with the seasons, obviously?
So we've got 2 cultivation seasons in South Africa, which is winter and summer. So yes, we've got 4 seasons, which is summer, autumn, winter, and springs, but the cultivation seasons are 2, summer and winter. So in winter, most of the crops that we cultivate include cabbage, mustard, spinach, okra, tomatoes, onions. Most of the seeds we usually get them by buying those ones for winter. They are not mainly indigenous during winter because historically people used to cultivate once. Traditionally, they cultivate only on summer because they depended on rain. There were no irrigation system. Our ancestors never used irrigation, so they only cultivated once during summer. So that's why it's only in summer where you find most of our indigenous seeds, where you've got peanuts, you've got maize, which is our staple crop or our staple meal. It's maize meal. We've got different types of legumes, which include also cowpeas, cucumbers, butternuts, and we do intercropping. You find that maize is planted side by side with peanuts, with cowpeas, with butternut, with cucumbers, those type of things. So that's how it is. So it is cultivated in the same field. So there are no lines usually during summer, just everywhere. That's what it is.
Thank you. And I also want to ask you, how's the Gardens initiative seen overall, and how did it change people's life in the community where it started?
The community is a group of 99% women. They used to be around 2005 because of challenges. I think now we're around 1,700 people, but from different communities. So that's why you find that in Makassar village, we've got 18 people, some just talking in general. So they were involved in collecting garbages voluntarily, cleaning the streets of the villages, to make sure that the place are clean. So when I met them, I told them about this initiative of 10,000 gardens. So they became interested. So what have changed now is that now they're more exposed to food production, and now we're also getting markets for the production. I mean, like they are learning the importance of food. Let me also give you another example of economic benefit. I'll give you an example about the 18 people that are in your garden. So if per day they harvest for themselves bunches of spinach, it means that it's 18 multiplied by 10 rand, meaning that it's almost 180 rand, which they would have used in the supermarket to buy something. So is the economical benefit that they no longer buy anything because they also produce something from the garden and also sell the surplus to the community. So things have changed. People now knows the importance of growing food. Even though traditionally we used to grow food, but people were no longer participating actively in food production. So the initiative has brought people back into producing food.
So it's people from different villages and different community who's gathering to work in the same garden.
This is the network of people from different villages, different communities.
Okay.
But one community have got one garden. Some community find that is one community maybe have got 2 or 3 gardens, but it's just grouping. Yeah.
How is the mood now? Did the motivation in the garden stay the same? Did it decrease or did it grow with this situation?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, when we find out about the COVID-19 breakout, people were discouraged. People were scared to go to their field, because most of the people that are working in the gardens, some will find that they've got existing conditions. And, it is reported that when you've got existing conditions, you are likely to be mostly affected, and it can be fatal, or maybe you might die because of existing conditions. And some are elderly people, so they also report that if you are old, then you are mostly affected and you can die easily. So that was the challenge. I don't want to lie to you, because the more people hear about the news of how does COVID-19 affect people, the more it affects our activities on the field, because people were scared. I've got existing conditions, so I can't go. I'm old. Those type of things. So it affects the activities in many ways. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I have another question. Did you have any COVID measures during this period, like, for example, masks, other social distancing, or something like that?
Yeah, everyone have got mask in the area. The thing is that I'm alone now. Was gonna take my mask. Yeah, everyone have got mask in the area. So that is the most thing that people will do. But the social distancing has become a challenge. It was not easy to do social distancing. So people prefer to stay away from the public, because as long as you go out, there will be no social distancing. That was one of the challenges. But people try their best to wash their hands always, to have the sanitize always. So the social distancing, that is the one that was challenging, especially when you go to town. I want to give an example. There've been social relief grants, so you'll find that the queue is too much. So our challenge was social distancing, but everyone have got mask.
Thank you so much.
And are there new plans for the future?
There are new plans for the future. Yeah, we have learned our lesson through this COVID-19, and we have discovered that the way forward is food production. So it's to keep people on the field. That is the new plans, to keep people on the field to produce food. That's why your support is very much important. So we have to keep people on the field to produce food, so that, you know, during the breakout of the COVID-19, those that have got money used to go to supermarkets to buy, but those without money, there was nothing that they could do, because they had to wait maybe for one small salary once a month. So you find that is happening, and you don't have even a single cent. You just sit and watch. So we have to teach people to stay in the field, produce food, store food, you know, so that we are ready. We know this cannot be the first or the last. We know things are coming now. We are also seeing the effect of locust. So, I mean, the crisis is coming. So we need to stay prepared.